Hello everyone, my name is SP3 and today I will be rambling about Marvel Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. Which means that this video will be super unscripted, which means I'll just be spouting stuff from off the top of my head, okay? I'm hoping that this is around 1 hour, but it might be 2 hours, so we'll see. I will be covering spoilers, but any spoilers that are in this video, I'll probably mark them with the chapters. They'll be spoiler free and spoiler, and it'll be in the chapters so you can see and click off whenever you need to, or just skip ahead, you know. If you do enjoy this video, make sure to like and comment down below what your thoughts on the game are. And remember, just keep in mind, this is my opinion. You can disagree with me, but just keep in mind, this is what I think of the game. And also, one more thing. I am not super, into the comics and stuff. So, if I get some things wrong, that is why. I haven't read issue 37 of Spider-Man Gets His Balls Cut Off, okay? But recently, I have tried getting into the comics and stuff. I've watched, all the Spider-Man movies, I think, and I know a little, just the tiniest bit of Spider-Man 4, the surface level, okay? So we will see if this is just a dumpster fire of a video. But anyways, let's begin. I'm just gonna start off with the story because I think this is the thing that probably disappointed me the most. I really love the first game's story. I think it's this game gets compared to Arkham a lot. I think the story in the first game was probably better than Asylum and Night. Maybe not City. I think City sweeps this. sweeps the first game. I haven't played Origins, so I imagine Spider-Man 1 sweeps Origins though, but I could be wrong. But 2, I think, all of the Arkham games just sweep this one story. But the thing is, the first half of the story is actually pretty good. It seems more, focused on one thing. And I feel like the second half and, the final act, it kind of has too many plot points to really focus on one thing. And it feels a lot like... It feels like a lot of stuff is unresolved and really rushed. I feel like the main thing with this game is that it feels rushed. I feel like Sony or Marvel had a lot of involvement in this. I think I read somewhere that Sony and Insomniac had a lot of issues with complying with each other on the final act of the game and the whole symbiote storyline, which definitely makes sense because oh my god. But the first half of this game is really solid. I mean, it starts off with you fighting Sandman, and it's really impressive, and I really like it. I remember that the one part where you're kind of I think it's Miles, and he's getting thrown he's getting thrown across the city, and then Miles uses the webs and he launches back across to the city, back to Sandman. And I think that's all in real time, which is impressive and showing off, that PS5 onlyness, that PS5 exclusiveness. They're fighting Sandman, and it's incredible. It feels good. I don't think it's as good as the first game's introduction. That introduction was very legendary. I love that song that played. But you have cool stuff like Peter being a teacher and Miles being a student and applying for college and stuff. And then Peter gets they beat Sandman, and then Peter just gets fired from that teaching gig. Yeah, which makes sense because he endangered those kids. And then, Peter and MJ are living in Aunt May's home, and you get to just walk around. And then you get to see Harry Osborn. I like Harry. I like Harry in this game, but you'll I think later on I'll focus more on Harry, but I have some things about him. But he has recovered from his illness in the last game and the Miles game. You know, we got the teaser for this one, but he's recovered miraculously, and he wants Peter to work at his new like lab, the Emily May Foundation, which is named after both Emily, his mother, and Aunt May, which are, you know, who is kind of a motherly figure to Peter, and their whole thing is they want to heal the world. And then Miles and Peter, I think they're transferring like the raft inmates. I think it's Martin Lee and maybe is it Scorpion? I don't know. I think it's Scorpion. Yeah, it's Scorpion. But then they get attacked by Kraven the Hunter, and I really love Kraven in this game. I think he's phenomenal, and I feel like this game should have just focused on Kraven, or just focused on Venom and the symbiote and stuff. It should have just picked one or the other. It feels kind of like a Spider-Man 3. I'll get more into that later. But Kraven's really good in this game. Kraven's trying to hunt people. You don't know why Kraven is like trying to hunt these super strong people yet until later into the game. But I think you find out that Black Cat is next. So Peter wants to warn her. I can't remember. Like he's like Peter's like oh, she won't listen to me. So Miles, you go and chase her and tell her that to warn her and stuff. Which involves this awesome set piece where Black Cat gets like a Doctor Strange wand thing or whatever, and she's going through portals and stuff, and it's one of my favorite parts of the game. You kind of zip through these portals, and you end up in like Antarctica, but then eventually you find Black Cat, and you fight with her too, and you have these awesome animations. Like with takedowns and stuff. It reminds me of Arkham. And then you warn her, and then she goes to Paris, and then like you never see her again. But I think they're doing, from what I've heard, DLC maybe. So maybe that she'll be in the DLC or something. But then they go to Coney Island. Peter, MJ, Harry, because they promised that when they met each other, and then Spider-Man stuff, and then they actually go there for like a date, you know. They go there for like a reunion kind of. You go on a roller coaster, and it's pretty cool. You can like throw your hands up and stuff. But Kraven's hunters attack the place, and they're trying to capture Tombstone, who is reformed. He's turned over a new leaf. He's a mechanic at the go-karts, which is pretty cool. This whole game is kind of centered around, you know, reforming and second chances, which I feel like is a good theme, and I feel like it's very in Spider-Man's character, you know. And I feel like, you know, it is a good argument to the you shouldn't kill them and stuff. You know, you shouldn't kill these criminals and stuff, because they could have second chances, and they have super awesome abilities, and if they use the abilities for good, they could help out even more people, you know. Oh yeah, and Miles kind of goes into this Mysterio place. There's something wrong with it, and Miles like gets a headache from it, so he like goes away from Coney Island. He goes away from like the park, so Peter has to fend off for himself. I love this like there's this scene where he's trying to save this woman, and I think maybe these people, but it's just this woman, and like he's obviously like really struggling here, and like he actually genuinely feels like he probably can't like save this woman, so he just like looks at her and he just says, "I'm sorry," and you can really feel it in the like voice actor. Yuri Lowenthal gives a fantastic performance in this game. You know, and it kind of drives home that, like, sometimes Spider-Man can't save everyone. But Harry comes in with the clutch assist. But he's kind of looking a little bit weird. He's got this black gooey stuff on him. And he saves everybody with Peter. And Harry finds out that Peter is Spider-Man. But Tombstone gets captured. Harry and Peter go rescue Tombstone in this awesome, like, prison breakout scene. And we get to see more of Harry and his and what I think people are calling Agent Venom, like a type of a costume. It's from like a comic where, like, Flash, he loses like both of his legs, and he's like a war veteran. I'm not sure how it works, but like he gets this suit that is kind of like similar to like Harry's, so that's pretty cool. But you know, you find out that the symbiote is resistant to fire, which from what I've also heard, I think that the symbiote was weak to fire in some of the comics, but it's not here. But then MJ, you know, she finds out that Kurt Connors has been kidnapped by Kraven, and you do like the MJ missions. We'll get into the MJ missions later on. And just MJ herself. MJ will just get her own category. She learns also that like Kraven has killed Vulture, Electro, and Shocker, and I think Scorpion too. I don't like this decision. I think it's really bad. Because Scorpion, I feel like, is a cool character, cool villain that they could have expanded on. And I don't think he got the justice that he got in the like first game. I feel like there's more that you can do with him. Now, I am not opposed to him killing Vulture and Elektra. Hear me out. I just feel like there's not much you can really do with them. And I feel like it's a good way to establish him as a threat. Maybe just kill one of them, you know, just kill any like Vulture, Electro, or Shocker. I feel like Shocker also, you could just like, please just keep him, he's cool. That's like a lot of villains that Kraven has taken out. And I don't think it was really necessary. I feel like, you know, Insomniac was scared that like nobody was gonna take Kraven seriously. But like, I mean, the fact that he kills like one villain, I feel like is enough to like, oh my god, he is a threat. He has actually like killed someone. I think it, you know, it establishes like, just one death establishes like, I'm disappointed with you. You know, he's like, I'm disappointed with you. You're not as strong as I thought you were. So yeah, I'm really like disappointed by this decision. And again, there's probably more to it, and this game probably got super like rushed. Or there's also, I feel like I think people have found out that like by debugging or like out of bounds stuff that like Rhino was supposed to like get killed. And I would also be fine with Rhino, because I think he was in the Miles game, he was in Spider-Man 1. Don't really think there's like much you can really do with him anymore. I feel like he would have been a solid choice to kill off. And, you know, he's this big brute, so that could solidify Kraven as like a threat. Peter and Harry tried to save Dr. Connors, but unfortunately they are late as Kraven turns Dr. Connors into the Lizard, which is awesome. I love it. And then the Lizard escapes, and then Peter gets like stabbed by Kraven. It's really emotional, and you know, he's like walking. MJ is trying to like help you out, just walking, and like it feels like Peter could like die here, and he does, I think. And Harry's just going off. He's super mad. You know, the symbiote's kind of like increasing his hatred for Kraven. But this I feel like this is when the story gets really like, just, it's on a roller coaster downhill. Harry is like crying over Peter, and like Peter has like I guess died basically. But the symbiote like attaches itself to Peter really fastly, I have to add. This whole like symbiote scene, like attaching the symbiote like attaching to Peter is like just happens so quick, and the whole symbiote storyline is so rushed. Like the black suit is just like on him. I do like Insomniac's version of the first black suit, but we'll talk about the one that changes later. But then Peter and Harry, you know, they wanna make a antidote for Dr. Connors, so he can, you know, the lizard can turn back into Dr. Connors, so that he can tell them about like the symbiote and how to transfer the symbiote from off of Peter to Harry, so because Harry's obviously sick and that the symbiote was helping him. I don't think I mentioned that the symbiote is like helping him. That's why he doesn't have that terminal illness, that just random sickness-itis, and we don't know what's the problem with Harry. Like, is it the heart or something? You know, that like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 plot point. You have this awesome part where like Miles and Peter are trying to track down the lizard, and they like go over the water, and there's like jet skis. I think it was like in the teasers and stuff, there was like gameplays on Sony's channel and stuff. No, I think you do the boss fight first. The boss fight is really fun. I really like the boss fights in this game. You just fight the lizard, and Peter with his symbiote he sounds like Matt Pat, just screaming. He sounds like that Matt Pat clip where he's like, "Don't tell me how many calories I need, you bitch." And he's just like saying like ruthless things to the lizard. He's like, "This is why your family left you." It's just like, damn, Peter, why'd you say that? You don't have to say that, bro. I really like the symbiote part, and I wish it was more like integrated into the game. Yuri Lowenthal does an excellent performance on the black suit. He just sounds really like angry and just mad. You know, Peter turns the lizard back into Dr. Connors, and Dr. Connors is explaining to him what the symbiote is, and that it's an alien, and that they should probably, you know, destroy it because it's bad. And like, but then Peter is like, "What do you mean destroy us?" And then he just like, he takes Dr. Connor's phone and just throws it away, and he's like, ah. And he transforms into his second version of the suit. I don't like it. It looks bad. He's very veiny. It looks awful. And I don't think I've seen anybody complain about this, but I don't know if it's anything with my like TV or like anything wrong with it, or I think I was on the performance mode, but Peter's on the black suit, the eyes on the second part looked very blurry to me. And we'll talk about the suits and just like their downgrades and like terms of design and just like the overall look of the game. But I feel like it has like a significant downgrade. We'll talk about that later. But then you know, Miles is captured by Kraven, and then he has to fight Lee to the death. And there's this whole thing about like Miles wanting to overcome his revengeance on Martin Lee from the first game, and like him killing Jefferson Davis. You know, Jefferson Davis, the leader of the Confederacy in the 1800s. Anybody find that weird, like that weird name connotation? But Miles helps Lee escape and tells him to like get Peter or something. And then Lee, you know, tells Miles' location to Peter. And then Kraven and Peter fight, and Kraven is like makes Peter mad. He like brings out Miles and stuff, and he gets him really like riled up, and Peter is about to like almost kill this dude. before Miles like intervenes. So you have this boss fight against Kraven, and it's awesome. And then you fight Peter in his black suit with Miles. Then after the fight, Miles, I think, or Peter has like one of the Oscorp like vials, I guess you would call it. They don't really explain how they got this, but then they like get the symbiote, and they get it off of Peter, and he's back to normal. So that happens like in like the symbiote plotline with Peter and the black suit happens in a relatively fast scene. I imagine that like the black suit dialogue and stuff probably happens in like side quests and stuff, and it's probably wanting you to do side quests, because there are points in the game where it just like tells you to like do side quests before I think a main quest pops up. So it's probably telling you to do side quests, but we'll get into the side quests too, because they're really uninteresting and I don't want to do them. So I just kind of wanted to go on with the main story. So yeah, the like symbiote plotline just happens really fast, and it kind of sucks that like you have to do like probably like the boring side quests to like elongated. Peter's like, oh my god, this thing has like taken over me, and I've lost control. And Harry, I don't think you should like use it. I don't think you should use this. And Harry gets like really mad out of the character. Like, God, like, and he just takes it, and it just happens so fast, and oh my god, I hate that. Like, this is where it gets really bad in the story, because like, why is Harry like not like they in the previous parts they had like worked out their problems pretty good, you know, they're relatively like understanding of each other. And I mean, Harry's like seeing what this thing has like done, and I understand. There's this scene where like Norman has like his stereotypical like I think of Peter as a better son or whatever. I'm proud of you, Peter, you know, that moment. So like Harry, I guess, feels jealous, but like it feels really shoehorned in. Like that's just one moment that like, you know, Norman kind of feels that way. I don't know, I hate it. And he turns into Venom. And I hate this. I hate this version of Venom. I love the way he looks. I love the way he looks. Let me just state that. I love the way Venom looks. He looks phenomenal, and his voice actor is also great. But I just don't like this, you know, this version. Harry is kind of skinny. He's skinny like me. He's skinny, frail like me. Okay? And I can't imagine the symbiote transforming into the Venom look. Whereas, you know, Eddie Brock, he's more fit, he's more jacked, and it makes more sense. And the storyline with Eddie Brock makes more sense, you know. I can see like like the symbiote in this game, it just feels like an evil goop monster thing, which from what I've seen and like heard, you know, like it's supposed to, you know, heighten the feelings of its host to like the extreme, you know. So Eddie Brock, you know, he feels jealous of like Peter, so it makes sense that he's like, and also the symbiote and Eddie Brock, like the whole name of Venom is. It comes up from, like, the unison, the collaboration of the two in forming that name. And in this game, it's just kind of, like, thrown out there. It's just like, we are Venom. There's, like, it just comes out of nowhere. But I will say, I really love the part where you play as Venom. Even though it's quite short. It's, like, 20 minutes, give or take. But it's really fun. You can, like, you don't really swing as much. But you kind of feel more grounded and bigger. You can parry bullets, and you can just like you can grab people and you can swing around. It's a fun time. And then you have this boss fight with Kraven, and this is where Kraven gets out of the story, and the story turns into shit. The story just nosedives. The boss fight with Kraven's pretty fun, and then Venom eats Kraven's head, which I will say I really like because oh yeah, also I forgot to mention Kraven is hunting these people because he has like cancer, and he wants a fitting end. He wants his glorious gladiator end to like die to a worthy opponent in battle. That's the reason why he's hunting people. And I feel like it's way more an interesting story than Venom. At least this version of Venom that Insomniac has crafted. But like I wish like Kraven was, the main focus, and maybe like it being about like Kraven doesn't die at the end and he gets reformed or changed or gets a cure or something. I feel like that would have been better. And also, like, I think, like, after this is done, Harry's like, oh no, what did I do? And it kind of solidifies that, like, this is just, like, the symbiote doing it. It's not really Harry's own will. They go visit Emily, Harry's mother's grave, and she's speaking to him, and, like, she's speaking to him through the grave or something, metaphorically. And she's like, we gotta heal the world. You gotta heal the world. So the symbiote's like, oh, we're gonna twist that version of it. We're gonna be like, we're gonna do our way of healing the world, which is making everyone symbiotes and stuff. So stupid. Peter realizes that, like, he still has, like, that symbiote still kind of inside of him. And it, like, hurts him or something. And it, like, takes him over again. And then Miles and Marley go inside his mind. There's a lot of, like, just going inside the mind here again. Kind of retreading old ground from Spider-Man 1. And in my opinion, it doesn't work as well. It just kind of feels... just, like, everything in this game just feels safe. And, like, they didn't really want to take a risk with this game. So, again, that's what I was thinking of when I was talking about Venom eating Kraven's head. I was happy they did that, because that felt more like, there wasn't involvement from Sony or anything. There wasn't a lot of that, like, Insomniac safe writing. We'll also get into that writing in a later category. But, Aunt May is, Peter's, like, trying to overcome Aunt May's death and how he feels responsible for it. And Miles is like, dude, just wake up, bro. And I just hate this vision. And then Peter gets the anti-Venom suit, which I actually don't really like. I don't really like the design of it. But I like that it's a way to keep these symbiote powers in the gameplay. I think that's really nice. I really like the symbiote. And I was wondering how they were going to kind of do that. And I do like this. I just don't like the suit. That's all I gotta say. I do like the way it's done. I just wish it was done better with, like, Miles and stuff. But I like the way Martin Lee. Martin Lee is pretty good in this game. I really like him. Venom gets, like, the meteorite that brought the symbiotes to Earth. Or symbiote, I don't know. Which is, helping him to increase the speed, which is really speeding up things in terms of him, like, making everybody symbiotes and stuff. Miles gets a new suit right before the end, and he's like, it's a Miles original, and it's just blatant Adidas advertisement. This is like a hot take. This is an actual hot take. I think the Miles suit looks better than the anti-Venom suit. That's a hot take. That's a genuine, like... I like the suit, the actual just, like, suit. I like, it looks good. But the shoes and the hair are atrocious. But I think they did, with the New Game Plus update, add new colors to it. I'm not sure if they're really any good. I've, like, heard that, like, people, like, switched off those suits, like, when they could, because they were just terrible. until like they couldn't. I imagine you probably can't at the end. Yeah, I don't know what they were really thinking with that. It's just like I feel like people hate the evolved suit more because it's blatant advertisement and you're forced to wear at the ending of a game, and it's not like just like a side suit. I feel like that's like the main issue, and I totally understand that. So yeah, the evolved suit may look better, but I do understand like that it is kind of the worst suit. It is worse in the sense that it's just an advertisement. Whereas the anti-venom, it kind of has like, it's like kind of like the anti-ox suit. I love the anti-ox suit, by the way. But yeah, MJ gets like these, gets like, I forgot to mention, she gets like guns. We'll get into it when we get to MJ. But she can like one-shot symbiotes and stuff. In the cutscenes, I think, but like not in the gameplay. But they beat up Venom, and they use the particle accelerator and stuff. They beat Venom. That's all I have to really say. Harry is like in a comatose state after the battle, and you have the scene where Norman's dressed in all green, and he's like, get the G serum ready, which is obviously, in the third game, it's gonna be Green Goblin. He gets really mad. He's like, beating the window and breaking it. MJ quits her job at the Daily Bugle, and she runs her Joe Rogan podcast and moves in with Peter. And Peter decides to take a break from, being Spider-Man, which a lot of people have an issue with, he wants Miles to take over for him. I don't have an issue with it because he's obviously gonna return in the third game because it's fucking Green Goblin and Doc Ock, which are obviously fucking villains that are super tied into Peter. But who knows? Insomniac could fuck this up because the final battle, spoiler for the final battle with Venom, the last part is played with Miles, which makes no fucking sense. God. My main issue with this ending is that like Miles this entire game he's just been he wants Peter like to like teach him and stuff and wants him to help him, and Peter has been a fucking asshole to him and not helping him and has been worried about like the Emily May stuff, which is understandable, but like it doesn't really warrant, and Miles has his own problems too. I don't know, I just feel like it was kind of a jerk move on Peter Wright. But he's obviously gonna return in the third game. Maybe. I don't even know anymore. But I think I've already spoiled it. Norman goes to draft and he talks to Doc Ock, and Doc Ock is like, we're gonna do the final chapter. And from what I've heard, it's a comic, I assume involving Doc Ock, and that's the reference. It's the final chapter. Woo! And Miles meets Rio's new boyfriend, and he introduces her to his sister, not his sister, god damn, his daughter, Cindy Moon, who is another Spider-Woman person. I'm not really excited for this because God, this game was already, like, it couldn't even focus on Peter and Miles equally. Like, Miles only gets, 9 missions. I think Peter gets, 16 or 19 or something missions. It's really Peter-focused, which makes sense. But I feel like there could have been more stuff about Miles. So, if they have, 3 playable characters, and 3 different storylines, this game was already, a fucking dumpster fire with the Venom plot points. But I feel like there could have been more stuff about Miles. So, if they have, 3 playable characters, and 3 different storylines, this game was already, a fucking dumpster fire with the Venom plot points. I am not looking forward to, this. or she's like an NPC or something. I'm not looking forward to this. But that is like a very thorough summary. If I cut this will probably be 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Jesus Christ, this exceeded what I wanted. But yeah, so that is kind of the story stuff. But so we're gonna have some other categories, and I'm just gonna go through them, and hopefully they will be quicker. Alright, so our next category is revamped gameplay. The gameplay here is similar but very different from the first game and Miles Morales. Which I was actually not really expecting. I had, like, you know, when the Game Awards for, I think this game came out in 2023, it was going against Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom, and, you know, many people were complaining about, like, I was hearing people saying, like, I was hearing many people say that it was basically the same game as Spider-Man 1. So I kind of had, like, those kind of expectations on this game. I had so what basically happened was I had the wrong expectations kind of for the story and the gameplay, because the story I was expecting to be good, and it was terrible, and the gameplay I was expecting to be kind of the same, and it was very different and was good. Of course, there are some things that I do like from the first game that are absent here. But I do think that complaint about it being very similar is a terrible complaint. It's not even the... I just don't think it's the right angle to go after with this game, because I do think this game is severely, like, flawed. It has some big glaring issues. But, you know, from the first game, it was kind of like Arkham. I don't want to say, like, it's an Arkham clone. I would say it's just inspired by Arkham. It's got its own to be, you know, Spider-Man. And the main thing from that game was the gadgets, which I love the gadgets from the first game. I thought they were really good, yet a little bit OP. But also the thing with it was that stealth was also huge, and stealth was pretty big in that game, and those helped with, like, the impact web and the trip mine and stuff. And one of the things was that, like, you have a bunch of gadgets, so it's kind of like Ratchet and Clank. You have to bring up this gadget wheel, and it slows down time, and that can get a little bit annoying in battle. I oddly feel kind of nostalgic towards it, and I kind of miss it in this game. So what this game has done is that it's trimmed off the fat of that. You get 4 gadgets, and you get 4 abilities, whether you're playing as Peter or Miles. The gadgets are the same for both of them, but the abilities are different. Different per se, they kind of follow the same kind of formula, but there's some differences here and there, especially with, like, the symbiote and the evolved Venom abilities. You also had suit mods that were present in the first game. I don't remember them being in here. I don't think they were. But I also miss those, but I get it. I think there's a lot more suits in this game. I mean, just Peter and Miles both get suits, so I can understand there not being suit mods and stuff, and I guess the abilities kind of take their place. But instead of there being, like, a gadget wheel, you kind of just press, I believe it's R1, and then the corresponding ability. No, it's L1. I think you press L1 and L1 and R1. I believe you press L1 with the corresponding button, and then R1 with the corresponding ability to, do your things, to do your abilities and gadgets, which is a nice change. The gadgets here, though, I like the idea of this, but I feel like the gadgets here suck. They're not cool for one. For one, they're not cool looking, and they're uninteresting. And second, some of them are just not useful. The most useful one is the web grabber, I believe it's called, and it just brings together enemies, and then you can just use another ability or something, and you have all the enemies together, and you can hit them all. So that is very useful. Oh, also I should mention the web shooters are their own thing now. They used to be a gadget, so you would have to go into your gadget wheel if you had another gadget equipped to go to the web shooters and equip them, so you could use the web shooters. This is a very nice change for this game. You have the upshot, which is the worst ability. It's kind of like the gravity suspension matrix, I believe it's called. Gravity or suspension matrix or something. It brings the enemies up, so you can do an air combo or something. But it just doesn't look cool. It's this turret drone thing, and then it goes up, and then it shoots electricity or something, and it sends them into the air. It's stupid. I don't like using this. You have the ricochet web, which is just a worse web bomb, because it's very unpredictable where the webs are, because as the name suggests, it ricochets. It just webs up people, which is a useful ability. It's not as broken as the web bomb, but I kind of wish the web bomb was in this game. And then you have the concussion burst, I believe it's called, and then later the sonar burst, which is, I forgot what it's called in the first game, but it's similar to another one, and it's pretty good. It's also a way to deal with the symbiotes later on, as it's upgraded to the sonar, and that's the weakness of the symbiotes. I don't think I mentioned the sonar sound-based things or the symbiote's weakness in this. And then the abilities. Let's talk about the abilities for Peter and Miles. I'm going to have to look these up because I don't exactly remember every single one. There's, I believe, there's 12 abilities that I would probably have to talk about. Spider Whiplash. He basically launches... Oh, hold on. Let me explain. Hold on. Peter's initial abilities are Spider Arm base, which I don't really like the Spider Arm stuff here. I always found it kind of weird. And why does Peter use this? Why doesn't he if he can build this, isn't this what Doc Ock was trying to do? And Peter successfully did the... I don't know, man. I don't like this stuff. But the abilities for the spider arms, we have Spider Whiplash, where Peter launches the enemies up in the air. So it's kind of like the upshot. It's bad. Spider Shock. This one's pretty good. You can stun enemies with electric. The arms produce this electricity-based attack thing. It shocks them, kind of like Miles. It's pretty good, I guess. Spider Rush. He just launches himself, and it's kind of like this tornado attack. And he just launches himself. He launches himself forward into an enemy or something. And it may catch other enemies in its area of effect. It's alright. Again, I'm not a big fan of these spider arm abilities. The Spider Barrage is probably the best one. He uses his arms and he uses his fists, and they both simultaneously attack. This is basically like you can use it against big enemies, single enemies and stuff. Pretty powerful. And now onto the better ones, the symbiote abilities, which involves Spider-Man using tendrils from the symbiote in his moveset. So then we have the Venom Punch, which basically Spider-Man uses his symbiote arm to punch through it. It's kind of like the Spider Barrage or the God, I already forgot, like the Spider Tornado move, whatever it's called. I like the symbiote abilities. I think they look really cool. This one, however, is probably the most basic of them. Just forewarning, I'm looking at like this list of the abilities, and it's showing the anti-Venom ones. I'm not sure, like, they all will be eventually turn into anti-Venom, I believe. But that's not how they do it in the main story. They start out as like actual like just Venom abilities, and then you unlock the other anti-Venom abilities, which are different. So I'm gonna call the ones that I think I know are the first, black suit stuff. I think this one is one of them. It's the Venom Strike. Very striking move. He basically kind of gets into this ball starfish type position where his tendrils sprout out from this spherical shape, and it kind of covers a bunch of enemies, and you can beat the enemies. It's very difficult to get this one to work sometimes. These abilities can sometimes just not work, which is odd, like, to say the least. The Venom Yank is one of my favorites. I just love the way this one looks. It gets his tendrils and you can yank, I think it's like 2 enemies at first, but then you get like an upgrade and you can get like multiple enemies, and it's super satisfying to do. Even like with bosses too, just using this ability is super cool looking, and it's pretty useful. Alright, I may have like confused one of these. I'm not sure if this is just an anti-Venom one or not, but it's the Venom anti-Venom maybe Blast. To me, I remember, I'm not sure if this, to me this just feels like the Venom Strike, but this is probably better. I don't know, I'm not sure, but I believe it might be better. It's probably better than the Strike. Now moving on to the anti-Venom abilities. Anti-Venom Bomb, this one's awesome. You like throw this kind of bomb shaped thing from the tendrils, and I should mention the anti-Venom abilities are white, and they do look like a very, as people have noticed, substance. They look iffy, suspicious. This one's super awesome. I really like it. And then lastly, the anti-Venom Tempest, which this one's kind of like the Strike and the Blast again, but this one's cool. Because it kind of does it horizontally, opposed to all around, encompassing everything. These are all, I like the Venom abilities here. They all look cool and creepy and cool. Oh yeah, and we should probably talk about enemies too. They've introduced like these hold on, let me preface this with they've added a parry button so you can parry moves. That's a very cool addition, so you're not constantly dodging using the dodge roll ability. With circle, sometimes you have to press, I believe you hold L1 and release it when the time is right. And there's these hunters where they have daggers, and I think the only way to really beat them is to parry them. You have brute enemies, which are kind of like, they're presented as kind of like mini bosses. They remind me of the Titans from Arkham Asylum, and that they usually take a little bit longer to beat. I really enjoy the Kraven kind of technology based animals. You have like these dogs, I guess that they would be, and these kind of bird-like drones, and they can cancel out your abilities, so you can't use your and when I said abilities, I just realized I didn't go over Miles. Let's go over Miles. I'm sorry, the birds will have to talk about you later. Venom jump. It's like the spider jump. It launches enemies in the air. Although this one looks cool because it's obviously electricity based. But again, super useless. And I believe Miles' starting abilities are pretty much from like the first, not the first game, Miles Morales. Because then we have like Venom Punch. Actually, the symbiote abilities might be called Symbiote Punch, probably. That's probably what they're called. I couldn't imagine they use the same name. So I apologize if I used the wrong name. It's basically like the Symbiote Punch, but they're both equally cool. It's just kind of like a nothing burger ability, you know? Useful probably in the early game. Venom Dash, he does this kind of a launching attack. It kind of reminds me of the Prowler, and he just like throws them. It's super awesome. He throws like the enemy. Oh my god, it's so cool. Venom Smash, not to be confused with Hulk Smash. This one, he jumps into the air and then punches the ground. It's super awesome. And shocks the enemy, kind of like the Spider Shock. I think the first ability that you get of the evolved Venom, which basically gives Miles this cool blue electricity based look, is Chain Lightning, which chains together, you know. It's kind of like the what is it called, the Venom Smash ability that we just talked about. But you're standing up and it shocks the enemy. It's super good. Thunderburst is another good attack. You launch yourself towards an enemy, and Miles will just like teleport basically to that enemy, and they'll take a lot of damage. And there's like an area of effect that other enemies can get caught into. It's super good. Galvanize. Pretty cool name, gotta say. I believe he might kind of Venom Smash the ground again, but it's kind of but it's more like the Venom Jump. I think it like launches enemies into the air. It's alright. I didn't really, that one kind of appears later. I wasn't really using that one too much. Reverse Flux though is really good, because it brings in enemies, and it looks cool. I love Reverse Flux. It's got a cool name, too. But yeah, that's Miles' abilities. I realized after doing this, the abilities are really boring to talk about, but I like their addition. But yeah, back to the drone birds. They cancel out your abilities. There's these cultists. They use fire-based attacks. They're kind of hard to fight. There's this one where he kind of like spits out fire in both directions. That was always a hard move to dodge, parry. Oh, and there's this awesome thing where, like, I think if you get like caught by them, they'll try to brand you or something, and you have to do like a quick time event. And of course there is the symbiotes, which you have to use your sonar base attack, and that will kind of stun them and stuff. But yeah, I really like the enemies here. I love the hunters, and I love the like drone-based, animal-based things. And I do like the cultists kind of. I think they're not as cool as like the demons and stuff from the first game. And I don't really like the symbiotes. They're just generic evil bad guys. But yeah, I really like the hunters. And I really like the combat here. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the traversal of the game. The swinging around the city, the Spider-Man stuff. I love the swinging here. It's relatively the same. I found out that they increased the swinging speed. I think they doubled it in this game compared to the first and Miles, which is very interesting. And I think I'll have to play the first game in Miles to see if it's much slower. I didn't really notice it at first, but I can see it kind of by looking at the gameplay. It definitely did feel a little bit different. And one thing about the city is that it's big. It's the largest map so far in all of these games. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I genuinely thought that they had made it smaller, because the way the map is presented, I thought it was smaller than the first game, but I think it's also double the size. It's probably from the swinging speed, and that is why I probably thought it was smaller. And I get why they increased it, because it's a larger map and you're going to go over water. There's a huge portions where you have to go over water to get to the other side of the city, and I love this change to how you traverse over water, because it was not really that fun in the first and Miles. You would usually there's not really much objects that you can swing on. This time around, you can glide, you can skid over the water, and then you go at a relatively fast pace. You could just swing, but the big thing is that you can use the new web wings added in this game. The web wings are really just a novelty, They shouldn't work. I imagine these things are they seem useless, probably in the comics. Because you can swing, and why does Spider-Man swing or something? The same with the Spider-Mobile or a Spider helicopter or something. Why are we? There's not really a need for it, but it shouldn't work. And you feel like this would? I felt like this would probably be a Arkham idea clone, but it's not really. It's more of a to help you. It's more of an assist. Whereas Batman, that is his only way of fastly traversing around, besides the Batmobile. So yeah, I really enjoy the web wings. So you can use those to get around the city, and you can use those to get around the water. Really enjoy those. I didn't really use any of the new abilities. I was focusing on the combat abilities, so I didn't see that loop-de-loop. I didn't get to use that. I think I covered most of it. I've heard that there are options that you can change The only thing I can think of recently is the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They have this drift thing that keeps you on course. I think that's what's going on with this swinging, auto steering, I guess, to help you not collide into the buildings. And you can change that, which is very good. There's one thing Insomniac is really good with. It's the accessibility of these games. But yeah, that's most of the city stuff. Boss fights. The boss fights in this game have a health bar, and it really adds to the immersion of this game. And the bosses here are done tremendously times better than the first and Miles. Whereas, the Sinister Six boss fights from the first game, you have them doubling up, and you're in the air and stuff. They weren't really the highlight The Doc Ock fight was pretty good. I also like the Tinkerer fight. Can't really think of like anything else that really stands out from those. But the boss fights in here, you have the lizard fight that's really very good. The Kraven fight, I love the Kraven fight. I love the symbiote fight. Oh yeah, Scream. MJ turns into Scream, and it's not just a battle of fist to fist. It's kind of more a mental problem. It's like MJ and Peter are fighting their grievances out on each other. It's more MJ just I guess screaming out her grievances with Peter. One thing with that fight I didn't really like is that Scream just keeps going from rooftop to rooftop, and it's really hard to like keep up with her. And like if you get to where she's at, and like point launch to her, it will bring Spider-Man in a position where the invisible wall, I guess, not like invisible wall, but like a place where Spider-Man is not supposed to be. He goes there, and he constantly is turning back around. It's very hard to explain, so hopefully I have some footage of it on screen. I just found that part really annoying. The boss fights are also kind of tough because they have multiple health bars, sometimes even 4 like health bars, but at minimum usually like 3. You have stuff like the parry to help you. It makes these fights more engaging. I noticed that they are very grounded, so maybe for the next game, I hope they kind of add a little bit like in the air, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work, because the Venom fight was kind of a little iffy when he got the flying wings part. Oh yeah, the Venom fight. Again, I like the first part with Peter, where you just fight him on like this field, and the setting looks good, and very striking to me. But I don't really like the Miles part where he gets the Donny Cates version of Venom, where he gets the wings, and I think those wings are from Null, I believe it's called, which is like the god of the symbiotes. And Null's design is like the spider on it is supposed to be like a dragon, and so the symbiote spider thing is supposed to kind of be a dragon or something, and Venom's like spider thing is supposed to get the wings, and that is supposed to be the dragon. So that is why it has wings. Like, I wouldn't know that, because it's never explained in the game. Just like the Venom name and stuff like that. None of it is explained. I have to outside sources to find this stuff. But yeah, the bosses here are pretty awesome. The next thing I'm going to talk about is just that everybody is too nice in this game. Insomniac, here's the examples I'm thinking of, is the Ratchet and Clank 2016 game and Rift Apart. Those I felt were very safe and really bland versions of it. I mean, you compare the original Ratchet and Clank to 2016. Original Ratchet would make fun of the new Ratchet. He would be like, look at this guy, nerd. Harry is really nice, and I can't see him as being Venom. It feels like they've sucked the personality out of each one of these characters. Peter in his normal state isn't as good as he was in the first game, but when he gets the symbiote, it's a very fun time getting the symbiote. But like, I feel like he's downgraded as a character, and this is nothing against Yuri Lowenthal. This is purely like script stuff. It feels like they've regressed as characters. You know, Miles is like the only, like, I would say Miles has like promising aspects in this game, but he just doesn't have enough screen time and to just like flesh that stuff out. MJ's kind of like the same. I don't know if her sections are better. I don't know if she's like gotten better as a character. She's kind of like the same. I don't really like this iteration of MJ. But she'll get her own section. Like, even J. Jonah Jameson is just not as good. And the other podcaster, Danny Cass. I don't really like the Danny Cass, because I want J. Jonah Jameson to make fun of me, okay? I want the Alex Jones grifter to make fun of me. That's fun. You can't re-listen to the podcasts from this game. Again, probably a rush thing that... God. It feels like both podcasters know way too much and stuff they shouldn't know. Like, the Danny Cast is like, the black suit really freaks me out. Why does it freak you out? How did you get this, like, footage? They bring up, like, this footage and stuff. How'd you get that footage? Why does it freak you out? It's just a new suit. Like, Spider-Man, like, his PS4 or PS5, they have a bunch of different suits that you can wear. Isn't it, like, canonically he's switching suits or something? I don't know. Like, is this just like a new suit or something? Well, like, how do you know this? I just don't like that she's like very nice to you and she's supportive. And I believe she has more things in this game than Jonah. Because it'd be funny, like, he's talking about the black suit, and he's like, oh, he's destroying everything. He's causing harm to everyone. I don't think this is a good look for the Spider-Man. And he'd be actually right about Spider-Man for once. Like, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I feel like everybody is too nice in this game. And that Insomniac needs to bring back that edge to it. There are some parts in this game where I feel like maybe it's a different writer or something, because like you have like the black symbiote where he's like, this is why your wife left you, lizard. It's like, damn, that hurts. Damn, that's edge. But then it's like Harry's like, Peter, please, I don't want to hurt you, as like Venom. And it's like, bro, I want like Venom to like be jealous and like be his emotions hidden from the symbiote, his actual emotions hidden, like an actual like hatred of Peter Parker. Yeah, that's my rant. These might kind of go together, but Spider-Man feels like a firefighter in this game compared to the cop stuff from the first game, which I think is a better look. Although there's one thing I don't like about this, is that the crimes suffered from this. They took out a lot of the variety of the crimes, and I repeatedly got like the same crimes. It would be like extinguish the fires. It would be that car chase where they made the car chase even simpler. It's just press two buttons. You press triangle to get on it, and you press like square or something to stop the car. They made them simpler. How do you even do that? But I really like the change here to make him kind of a firefighter. As I said, is extinguishing the fires. But also, after some crimes, you may have to pick up a injured person, civilian, and take them to an ambulance or something. And Spider-Man kind of like talks him through it, and it's very nice. I feel like it makes him more superhero-y than the cop angle that they were kind of going for. And, you know, it fits in with this game with the whole reforming and second chances themes and stuff. But, again, the crimes, where's the bank robbing? I love the bank robbing. It doesn't mean, like, that crime doesn't, like, stop, okay? I like him saving people, but, like, where's my bank robbing? Those were so fun. You know, in the first game, he went by, like, Spider Cop a lot. He would call himself Spider Cop. He would use police like surveillance towers to get the whole Ubisoft tower thing going. And here, like in the cutscenes and stuff, he feels very Spider-Man-y because he's like saving civilians. You know that one part where he was like, I'm sorry. He was saving the person from the woman from the the Coney Island part. There's a lot more saving people as Spider-Man. Peter Parker has, you know, downgraded, but I feel like the Spider-Man aspect has been heightened and upgraded. And I hope they kind of go with exploring more of this firefighter angle in the next games, or game. I'm not sure how many games they're gonna be. But yeah, really good change. Okay. This one is going to be about, I would title this kind of like fight the enemy side quest. It feels like everything, the side content in this game is just about fighting enemies. There's not really like variety as much as like the other games, the previous games. And they weren't my favorite, but they were a nice subversion from being Spider-Man. I wish MJ got her sections maybe in this side quest stuff. Why is she in the main story? We'll get to that. But yeah, there's like no Taskmaster stuff. There's no Screwball stuff. I know people hate Screwball, but it worked. Those were fun challenges, you know, the like swing through the things, Superman 64 style, the combat challenges and stuff, the defusing the bomb. Oh my god, I forgot to mention the defusing the bomb crimes. Those were fun. But like the Sandman ones, you just fight a bunch of Sandman goons, and then you break a piece of his memories or whatever, and it's usually like 4 sentences, and it's usually the same stuff each time. And then you do it, and then he leaves like a Sandman trophy at his Sandman's daughter. It's a stupid side quest. It's alright, I guess. Not my favorite. Then you have the Emily May Foundation stuff. I didn't really do any of those. The first one was like a bike, and that was just god awful. I hated it. I hate the controls of it. It was stupid. It felt like a waste of time. The second one was alright. It was like this, it was like you had to find these plants and stuff. I'm not sure how to describe it. You like watered these plants. I'm not sure if they're different, but I've heard that was the only 2 I did in this game. I've seen where they do like the wasp, hornet, whatever bee, whatever you're fighting. That I hate that. That's such a stupid idea. You kind of like first person, like it's not hard, it's just like stupid. It feels like a waste of time. There's the flame missions where you have to work with Yuri. It doesn't make any sense. I can't imagine Yuri as Wraith. But I only did one of these because the spider drone bot, whatever it's called, I hate that. That was such an annoying section. They're so long. They go on for like 5 to like 10 minutes. And you just kind of like help these people, which is fine. But like as spider drone or whatever, and you have to like sneak around and stuff. This is the only stealth part in the fucking game. God. And then you fight like the cultists, and the cultists are super boring. I hate the cultists. They have a cool design, but they're just boring. And this has something to do with Cletus Cassidy, who is Carnage. I couldn't even be bothered with this stuff. Then you have like Symbiote Nest. I didn't even do any of these. These are stupid. You have to like defend this point, so that I imagine to break that Symbiote Nest or something, and you have to fight off against symbiotes, which is yet again fighting. The only one that hasn't evolved like fighting is the Emily May one. The Kraven unidentified target ones, you have to find these drones and you have to like go through. You have to stay in this area that the drone is protruding out. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a sound wave or something. I'm not sure. Those are pretty fun. I like that. That's a nice change from just combat stuff. Again, no Taskmaster, no Screwball stuff. I know people don't like it, and like those were fun. Prowler stashes, those are interesting. They're pretty cool. You kind of have to navigate. They remind me of Miles, which, of course, Prowler stuff. I would like doing those, because it has stuff with Uncle Aaron and, like, his turning a new leaf and stuff. That seems pretty interesting. But I've heard that, like, the mixtape that you do for this is terrible, and I think I've heard clips of it, and it does sound absolutely god-awful, and that, if that is a reward, that is terrible. That is a terrible reward. That is probably the hardest part of the game, is sitting through the mixtape. I'm trying to think of oh yeah, the Hunter, I believe they're called Hunter Blinds, I'm not sure, but these are kind of like the bases, I believe, from the like first and Miles. So pretty much the same, but like you fight 3 of these and then you find the base and stuff. Pretty cool. Relatively unchanged. I think these should, of course, stay. Oh, and the cameras, the camera photo ops. Yeah, you just take pictures of people, notable people this time, instead of landmarks, which is more boring, uninteresting stuff. And of course you have like the regular side quests that you just do around the city, and you have the instrument stuff. Again, it's boring, but it's helping out the community, so I can enjoy that. But I think I've covered most of the side quests. I may be forgetting something. I feel like I'm forgetting something. But if I did, honestly, I don't care, because this is a time where I don't really feel like platinuming the game, because the side quests they're not interesting to me, and I don't want to. And like a majority of those like side quests were combat based, and that gets tiring after a while without like no change and variety and stuff. And there's just so many of them, and I don't really like. I'm not really like compelled to do any of this. So yeah, I'm very disappointed with the side content in this. Speaking of disappointed, there is no stealth in this game. Okay, that's very much an exaggeration. There is some stealth elements, but the stealth like tutorial isn't even introduced till like you're like halfway into the game. And I can see why. They've taken away all of the gadgets, so there's all you really can do is just do perch takedowns, or you know the one where you strike takedown, I believe it's called, or something. The stealth wasn't like the best part of Spider-Man 1 and Miles, but like it was a nice change in pace. And I don't know, there was something charming about using the impact web and the trip mine that is sorely missing in this. They do have a new thing. It's the I don't know what it's called. It's like the web line or something, and you like shoot a web, and you can go on it and walk across it, and you can do perch takedowns from the web. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea. You don't really get to use it. It's stupid. In fact, I think doing stealth is kind of stupid in this game, because, I mean, using the symbiote powers and stuff, you're pretty overpowered, and you can take down these people probably way faster than doing a stealth thing. There's not really a lot of enemies, as there were in Miles Morales, which kind of incentivize you to do stealth and stuff. I don't know. I just really disappointed with that. I guess the only stealth sections we have now are the MJ ones. Speaking, which leads me into my next point. MJ. Oh, God. I did not like the MJ missions or the Miles things from the first game. I like the Miles in theory a little bit better in the first game. I like the whole Jefferson Davis part and the Rhino and Scorpion, I think it's just Rhino, I'm not sure, part, because it made you feel grounded, and I feel like that is, I see where they're going with it. Good news, MJ only has 3 sections in this game, and they're a lot better. The first section is actually the worst in my opinion, because you don't really have the equipment that you get in the later ones that make it easier, and a lot more just smooth cruising. But MJ has like this gun, taser gun, and you know she's been trained by like Silver Sable people or something, and she is. And I just don't like the first mission because she's taking down these like hunters who are relatively like kind of challenging for Spider-Man and Miles. So like an average person, even with the training, I just find it hard for the suspension of belief or whatever that phrase is called. And there's just a lot of people in the first mission, and she doesn't have much equipment, so like I feel like they would sense her presence, you know. I mean, they had the dogs and just the dogs, and this too. I feel like those could also sense it quicker. They've gone for a more Last of Us type gameplay. When you're caught, you're not. It's not like an immediate game over. The hunters will like put like a hallucination tranquilizer stuff into you, and you can get away, and you can run in these missions, and it's better, you know? And the takedowns feel a lot more satisfying. You have the lore, of course. I don't like the first mission, but the second mission is probably my favorite, I would say. Well, like the first half of it, because the hunters go to Peter's house, which like the identities don't even like really matter at this point. Like, God, like everyone, I feel like everyone in New York knows like Peter Parker and Miles at this point. They don't really use that identity thing against them. But I love the whole set piece where MJ is going against the hunters and they're in her own house, or I guess Aunt May's house, whatever. And you sneak around, and this is like a cool story beat. You know, Peter Parker is asleep, but the symbiote is kind of taking over and taking down hunters and stuff, which is just a pretty neat idea. And this time she gets web shooters, I believe, which you can web up people. Really nice. It feels like the impact web. You know, you can instant kill people from far away. It's a very nice addition, and it makes things a lot smoother. I don't like the part where she goes with Black Suit Peter and she gets into that tunnel and she's being chased by him. I don't like that part. Then the final part is where she has to fight against symbiotes, and it just becomes a fucking third-person shooter, basically. Kind of like Resident Evil, I guess. I haven't played any of those, but I've heard it's like Resident Evil. It's Resident Evil Last of Us stuff. I don't like this. It's stupid. Miles and Peter have much more trouble fighting the symbiotes, and she can like 3-shot. I know she's using like sonar based things, which is the inherent like weakness, but it just rubs me the wrong way. I mean, in the cutscenes, it looks like she's like one-shotting them, basically, one pumping them. And I think we gotta get the elephant in the room. MJ looks quite different. Future me here, just adding in that MJ's like phone call picture, whatever, like when you're on the phone swinging around with MJ, does not do her any justice, and it's basically what everyone has been using to pick at this, model. And I gotta say, it's a bad model, I can understand, but like the actual in-game model, it looks better, but still not as good. These like weird pictures that they use for like the phone calls and whatnot, I noticed that like Harry's mother, Emily, like has just a weird portrait. It kind of like is going for like a semi-realism, like it looks almost like a real person, but like it's kind of got that Insomniac feel to it, I guess. I don't know, it's just something I wanted to add in here. Very different. I think the most different out of probably all of these characters. Some people have said that it's a self-insert from one of the writers, but I believe the true thing is that the original actress got into like a car crash and had like jaw reconstruction surgery. But I don't believe that's really the issue here. I don't mind the whole jaw thing. I believe it's just something to do with the eyes and the hair. It's nothing, I don't think it has anything to do with the actress herself. I believe it has something to do with like just the game. I'll get into I believe like the next category, I believe it is, or topic. I'm calling these categories. I don't know. Maybe topic is better. But like the whole game just feels like some suits have been downgraded. They've had like unnecessary details, or just the whole game itself just looks weird, and sometimes even worse than the first or Miles. So I believe this is just like an issue on the model. It's something about the eyes and the hair. I believe some person said like that MJ doesn't look fully like rendered, and I can see that. It's just something about the eyes. They look weird. And of course, they have obviously changed like the design, like Peter and Miles. MJ looks considerably older, and of course Peter looks quite younger, so it's just that weird age gap feeling, It doesn't look right when she's with these other characters. And I don't really like her character either. I feel like it's actually kind of a little bit worse than was in Spider-Man 1, and that wasn't the best either. I don't really like having her section shoehorned into the missions. And I know there's gonna be people who are gonna be probably in the comments of this video, if people even watch it, who are gonna be either way on both sides complaining about, oh, this is too woke or something, or this is very woke, or in the other side who's probably like, it's not, you need the MJ section and stuff. I don't think you have to prove that MJ can stand toe to toe with Spider-Man, and she's strong and stuff. In fact, I think it just makes her character worse, you know. But yeah, I just don't really like the Force kind of different. I do like the stealth sections from like just Spider-Man aspect, but I don't really like this changing gameplay in the like main story and stuff. And I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use that argument. I got the Spider-Man game because I want to play as Spider-Man. I don't want to play as normal human. I don't want to play as Norman human Miles. I don't want to play as Norman human MJ either. At least in the main story. It's fine in the side quest. I actually, there's a side quest with Miles's Miles's girlfriend or whatever, Miles's friend, girlfriend, whatever. I believe her name's Haley. I'm pretty sure that's her name. Where you play as her. I think that's a very cool. That's a cool side quest. I want more like that, like for MJ. And she can be included that way and can have more variety. You can kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, I don't really want to so yeah. I just really hope next game they kind of limit the sections or just make them side quests or something. I just don't really enjoy them. But props to Insomniac for at least making it better. You know, they cut down I believe it was 5 missions with MJ in the first, and I believe it was 3 missions with Miles. It's only 3 in this game, and the first one is probably the longest, and then the second one is a little bit it's 10 to 15 minutes, and then the third one is I don't know, 5 to 10. They get shorter and shorter. I just didn't really like that first mission a lot. The second mission was pretty fun. Yeah, I'm sorry for hating on MJ. This is probably gonna be a quick one. The whole game itself, at times, looks very bad. It looks like a PS4 game at times. I really wish that this game wasn't as rushed as it was. At times, it genuinely kind of looks bad. Some of the models in this game, the character models, look weird. I don't know. They just look weird. The city at times can look weird. They've already changed Peter's face from the remaster. I'm not really a fan of this decision. I feel like they should have gave the original actor at least a chance at the remaster. But I feel like it does work in this game for 2 because it's completely new, and I didn't get to see the old face in this one. So I playing the remastered for Spider-Man 1. It doesn't work for me because it just doesn't look right. And actually, I know people. I know they said it fits Yuri Lowenthal's voice better, I would say, I guess. But to me, it doesn't. I feel like the original face looked older. The original face looked older. It looked like the age that Peter was. He was 23 at the time. He's 25 in this game, which is insane. He does not look like that. But I remember the ending scene where Peter has his mask off. He's talking to Doc Ock, and he's super sad, and I can just, remember, the emotion and the distraught on his face, and he's very, muddied and dirty, and it doesn't, he looks very clean in the remastered version. I don't jive with it. Miles gets an atrocious haircut. What did they gave him the Killmonger haircut. There's a picture somewhere. I'll probably put it on the screen of these terrible haircuts. I think there's one for Tekken 8, this DLC character or something. They all have this, that default character kind of default character avatar haircut. It looks bad. I really like the first game and Miles like haircuts. They looked original to him, original interpretation kind of, and you know, the Insomniac thing. Not everyone, I don't think anyone has that fade haircut, yet it is used almost all the time. And of course, it makes the evolved Venom suit look bad. There was this YouTuber who I watched a video of his, and he was ranking and kind of going in depth on the suit from the games, from this game. And it was a very in-depth analysis. I think he went into like photo mode and just, you know, kind of looked at the suits, and a lot of them like look worse. And a lot of them just have like these unnecessary fluff added to them. They have like more armor, more seam lines, just unnecessary details. It's that make them look more over-designed than like a Digimon. And a lot of the deluxe suits, I think it's a great idea that, you know, they got artists to do this, and nothing against them, but some of the suits are just, in my opinion, they're just too complicated. And if they were more simple, they would be better. I do like the ideas that they have, but they're just too complicated. Like, I really like some aspects of that white suit for Peter, but there's too much going on. There's too much armor, too much gadgetry, too much gadgets stuff. There are some exclusions from the suits, which I get. Like, not every suit can like come in. That's a lot of suits. There's got to be new suits too. The Spider-Verse suit for Peter doesn't make it in. Odd exclusion. It seemed like Insomniac listened to there's too much armor suits in this Spider-Man 1. But the thing is, they took out pretty much all of the armor designs. Every time Insomniac like listens to criticism, it feels like, you know, they take everything out. It's kind of like people probably complained about the stealth, so they took out pretty much all of the stealth sections. The screwball missions, nobody liked them, but they were still necessary. So they took out the screwball missions and the Taskmaster stuff. I don't know, but like, I'm just really disappointed because it looks kind of like a PS4 game, and I feel like Miles Morales looks better as a game than this one. And sometimes, maybe I'm just nostalgia blind, but like sometimes maybe even like the first game, or well, the remastered of the first game. That about covers it with all of the points that I wanted to talk about. So we're going to move on to what I want next from the series. I'm looking forward to the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn stuff. Of course, Doc Ock too. Not really looking forward to the Cindy Moon stuff. I really hope it's just a side game, or she's like a side character or something. Or I don't know. I hope it's not 3 characters to play as. I would definitely want like the Taskmaster and Screwball stuff to be added in. And just more variety in the side quests. Maybe make MJ a side quest. Maybe Yuri, Wraith stuff. I haven't played any of those side missions, but I don't know. Her design is okay, and I think it could be interesting. Of course, there's Carnage stuff. I don't really know that much about Carnage or anything, but people really seem to love him. But I don't know, people really love Venom, and look how this turned out. So I don't know, maybe they should just go for like a really like a villain that's not really taken as seriously, like Kraven or the Tinkerer. because I feel like Insomniac really made them better as characters. I don't know what they're gonna do with the symbiote stuff. It would be cool to have it still in. More stealth too. I want more stealth in the game. Maybe more gadgets. And maybe like you can switch, and maybe you can like switch around gadgets or something. I feel like that would be a neat where you can have like this system and the previous system. You can kind of combine them. Almost kind of like what Xenoblade 3 does, where it kind of gets both systems, and where Xenoblade Chronicles 3 gets both games, and they kind of combine their battle styles and their gameplay together. So maybe you can have like kind of like the multitude of gadgets, but have the Spider-Man 2 way of how the gadgets work, where you get 4 of them and you get to click them, so you can like mix and match. I feel like that would be a cool idea. But yeah, I just want to play as Spider-Man, and I just want to play as Spider-Man. Okay? Like that's all I really want for like the next game. I just want to play as Spider-Man, the main missions, the main story as Spider-Man. I would like to see maybe more Miles stuff. Like balance Peter and Miles out. Like they awkwardly distribute them in this game. Miles doesn't even like have any missions, and like he's the final hit on the boss, which makes no sense story-wise. Like imagine Miles fights Green Goblin or Doc Ock at the end. That makes no fucking sense. They've been building up Peter and Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Why would Miles be the one to finish them off? But yeah, I think this is enough rambling for me. If you made it through this probably mammoth of a video, thank you for watching. My ranking for this game would probably have to be a high C tier, maybe medium to high C tier. It's okay. It's definitely disappointing. I'm ashamed of it. I'm disappointed from Insomniac, and I wish this game got more time. It wasn't as rushed. Like, I don't know when they started development on this. I don't know if it was directly after Spider-Man 1, or maybe it was after Miles. I'm not sure. But, God, it needed more time in the oven. But, I mean, there were some good aspects of it. Kraven, the swinging web suits, web wings, whatever they're called. The first half of the story is great. The boss fights, stuff like that. But the side quests, the second half of the story, the symbiote stuff, the crimes, they all are they feel very lacking, and that's the reason for my C tier. But yeah, if you made it through, thank you. If you like this video, make sure to hit a like. Keep in mind this was my opinion. You have yours. You can comment it down below. Tell me what you think about this game. And if you watched any of my other videos or anything, if you watched any of my other videos and you like my content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Excelsior. Bye.